Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Dratlow44. So today I wanted to go through the advantages and the disadvantages of Crypto. Now, Crypto is a character that has the lowest use percentage in the game as regards to legends. And I can kind of see why. He is not the easiest legend to just pick up and instantly play with. He does take a little bit of understanding, a bit of coordination. So I wanted to just cover a few things about where his strengths lie and where you can really play him well. And also where his disadvantages can be to a certain extent as well. And of course, this gives a little bit of an idea as to why you should play Crypto. Most definitely, he's certainly a good character to actually use. But you've also got to understand that he has some weaknesses as well. Now, the first weakness that I would go through is that unfortunately he has no special abilities in regards to getting out of bad situations, like you saw there. He doesn't have any Wraith L1 ability into the Void, Pathfinder's Grapple, or even a Mirage kind of decoy to throw out to, try and sort of throw someone off the scent, depending on the skill level. So with Crypto, he relies very much on his drone. And that really is his main play style. It's all around his drone and what he can do with that. Now, I would say that one of the big things in regards to a coordinated play is that if you are playing with a friend in, say, duos or friends as a team, you can then say, right, I'm going into the drone, keep me covered while I'm in it, and give me any warning should there be an enemy nearby. Well, of course, like you can see in the background, I'm able to fly the drone around. I can't see any enemies particularly, but I'm able to come back out. Now, a nice little buff that they did give is that when he goes into the drone, it is a lot quicker than it used to be, and that is massive. Honestly, it used to be quite slow. I remember playing with him a couple of times before any buffs, and going into the drone is much quicker now. The animation's faster, and he does the little hand movement exactly the same as Wraiths as well, which I noticed, the kind of two fingers thing. But he goes into the animation, you can have a look around. Now, the drone itself has got a little bit more health than it had, which is always nice. Used to be one shot. Now it's got about 30 health. It's not massive, but it is at least a little bit better. Now, you've got little controls on the actual drone itself. You can press, I believe, down to recall it, and L1 to leave the drone, so you can still sort of see it, or it's positioned where it was, and it will sort of do a bit of a scan, which again is nice. The downside with the drone is it can tell enemies that you're nearby, and if they see it, they know that there is a Crypto in the location. Now, what I try and do then is that with the drone, I'm flying it around. I know there's enemies nearby because of the smoke. I fly it through the door, trying to activate the EMP, but it wasn't quick enough and it gets destroyed. Now, sadly, there is then a 40-second cooldown if it's destroyed, which is a bit of a pain because Crypto relies very heavily on his drone. Now, I will say that with this particular character, he is not an easy character to just pick up and play straight away, which I said. He does take a lot more sort of skill, patience, and practice. And I think this is where, when you play with, someone who's prepared to take the time and actually learn him, he can be very strong and very effective. But if people are just rushing in and just trying to play him like, Lifeline or Bangalore or anything like that, they're going to get themselves killed and it's going to be a nightmare. Now, one of the things that Crypto does have, and I really like this clip, is that you can actually retrieve banner cards. Now, it's not ideal, that your friend, or teammate has been knocked down, but, if you need to do that, at least you can travel with the drone over, and it saves risking going and getting killed to, of course, go and collect it. And you can also scan and things like that as well to sort of, tell you that there are enemies around, and of course you can do the scan as well, and that's kind of what his passive does. Crypto and his teammates can see actually what the surveillance drone shows, so within a 30-meter sort of distance, and this is really good. There isn't really like a downside with this as such. Only that probably the biggest thing for me is that he kind of has that ability to have to rely on going into his drone. Now, his EMP, one of the things with his EMP is yes, you can activate it and it will kind of stun the enemies. It can be very effective in finishing people off, but again, it doesn't do that much damage, and this is a major sort of downside. I mean, okay, you know, it is situational. So with the EMP, it has got to have, or the enemies have got to have a shield, you know, actually on them, because if they've got no shield, it won't do any actual damage. And it only does 50 damage to the shield. Now, I know this may sound stupid, but I don't feel that is that scary. Why is it not scary? Because, okay, you know, in a sort of early game, yeah, it can be quite effective. But late game, most people are going to have shield batteries and shield cells. And unless you're using the drone nearby, or you have a coordinated team that are nearly there anyway, and you EMP as they're attacking, and you hit them then when they're weak on shield, you're going to struggle. And this is where the disadvantage is. Crypto is an amazing character, and he's great fun to play. But he really struggles in kind of just normal gameplay. If you're just playing just you know, with two randoms that you don't talk to on mic or anything like that, you're going to struggle a bit, because everyone's got their different play styles, and people aren't always prepared to just, you know, make sure that they're supporting you while you're in the drone, and you know, it is going to be a bit of a disadvantage because you leave yourself open to being attacked. While you're in the drone, you have got no idea if anyone is near you, and I've killed many a crypto by them just being in the drone, just seeing the drone run around, identifying roughly where they are, and shooting them before they can get out of it, because you've got to press a button to get out of it. You literally, you know, have got to sort of like, you know, respond, and it can be a bit of a nightmare. Now, with crypto, I mean, one of the big things is that, you know, surveillance, I mean, I suppose he's a bit like Bloodhound in regards to the surveillance side. He does have, definitely with the drone, he can survey, and he can sort of like tell people information of where enemies are. You can kind of get an idea as to what is going on, whether to push, whether to not. But you've got to do that with teammates, really. I think with randoms, this is why he has such a low percentage. This is probably his biggest disadvantage, is that he relies too heavily on the drone. Now, I think that, you know, moving forwards, what I'd love to see with sort of like Crypto's changes is just to have him maybe have something that doesn't just rely on the drone itself. I mean, like, you know, I would love it if it wasn't the drone that did the EMP, but it was him. Like, he activated the drone, you know, while he was there. So he activates his little watch, because you see the little animation that he presses to do it. I'd love to see him do that while he's fighting to stun, rather than needing to be in the drone. That would be really cool. I know the drone has to be out and it has to be in the kind of location, but it would be really cool to sort of see that if he didn't have to do that. And of course, probably a big thing would be that to see it doing more damage, maybe like 50 damage shield, and maybe like 30 damage or 40 damage or something like that to the health, because at the end of the day, this is an ultimate. Ultimates have got various kind of uses in the game, you know, from Pathfinder's Grapple to Wraith's Portal to Crypto's EMP. Every single one's got a different kind of aspect and advantage and disadvantage to it. But I feel like Crypto's, even though it has been buffed, is very underwhelming. Yes, it can stun and it can be very effective if used correctly, but it is very, very situational, and it can be so easily kind of countered. The drone hasn't got much health. It is a really, really hard thing. He's a hard character to play, and this is why I'm saying that, you know, skill levels, I mean, you see some very highly skillful players, and they play with Crypto, and they are amazing, and they make him look like he's the easiest character in the world. Trust me, he is not. I've been playing him quite a bit recently, actually, to sort of just try and get a bit more of a feel to him, because, to be honest, I hadn't played him as much as kind of other characters, and the reason I strayed away from him is exactly because of the things I've said. You know, he's actually is a good character once you start getting the hang of him a bit, but he does take a bit of learning, and that is probably where the big disadvantages are. You have to take time to actually learn what he's going to do. You have to be playing with your friends, say, right, I'm going into drone, cover me, I'm going to go and survey. Now, the drone itself, one of the big advantages, it's got quite a decent range to it. You can fly quite far, you can sort of see around, and you can kind of survey what's going on and move it about. But it takes a little bit of practice maneuvering it and getting used to it. The L2 for flight mode, recalling it with down, you know, the L1 for exit, little things like that. You know, I know it doesn't sound like that much. Even the R2 to do the EMP while you're in the drone and things. Yes, you can do it, if the drone's in the proximity and you're out of it. But as I said, I'd love to see Crypto be able to actually just do it without even the drone being out. If he's recalled the drone, you're in a battle in a room or something like that, and you can EMP himself from the drone. The drone comes out when you use the ultimate. I think that would really make him a very much more scarier character to sort of deal with, especially if it was doing more damage. I feel like there is going to be some more buffs to Crypto in the future. I feel like they're moving in the right direction as regards to what they're trying to do with him. The animation being quicker for the drone, the drone having more health. Of course, things like it being able to destroy Watson's pylon now is a really big thing, and I think that was a nice buff for sort of the competitive meta and ranked and things like that. But in normal, casual, everyday play, you're not going to really see too many Watsons camping in a building trying to hold up a position. I mean, you might, but a lot of people are going to be just saying, well, we play to try and get kills, we play to try and get a couple of wins, but they won't always camp. Depends on your play style, maybe. And that's probably the biggest things with Crypto that I've seen. Now, I do feel like there is a lot of potential with him. I feel like he's definitely a character worth playing. Mainly because, like in this duos, as you can sort of see in the background, he can have his moments of glory. And that is a big thing. But again, he's got no escape. No escape route, no sort of other things. All his abilities are centralized around his drone. So probably his biggest drawback and biggest flaw is exactly that. Everything relies on that drone. Yes, you can go into the drone. Yes, you can survey. Yes, you can kind of work out where things are. Drone doesn't get damaged by storm, which I guess is quite nice. But however, it's kind of like you have to be drone orientated, and you can sort of spot enemies and things like that. Now, as you can see there, I spotted them. My drone got shot, but I identified where they are. Managed to knock one down, which is great. But as you can sort of see, it is literally a very situational thing. So I think those are kind of the main points that I feel that I have with Crypto. I do think that he's going to get buffed. I think that I can see one buff definitely being where he can access the survey beacons like Pathfinder can. I believe Bloodhound, Crypto, and Pathfinder will have that access, and they will probably swap Pathfinder's passive to something else. So I can sort of see that being potentially a good thing. Apart from that, I really hope that they look at the character overall and say, right, let's give him something that isn't the drone, isn't just reliant on that. Let's give him something else which makes him special, but keeps him kind of, in a meta legend for just casual play. So look, that is pretty much it for me as regards to the pros and the cons. Lots of advantages. There are some disadvantages, of course, with him, but he is going to be a character that is going to take a lot of learning. So if you are trying to learn Crypto, my advice is to, of course, have a lot of patience and just to make sure that you really, really stick with it. So just remember to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. But otherwise, that is it for me as regards to this particular video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, drop a like. I'll be doing another pros and cons or advantages and disadvantages of another legend very soon, and lots of other guides I will be putting out as soon as possible as well. So if you enjoyed it, do drop me a comment and a like. Nice one. I will speak to you very soon. You take care and see you in the next video. All the best. Bye.